Hello ladies, and today is another rainy day here in South Africa on the East Coast. There's Yogi in the background. You can see him there. Well, there. So he still can't walk, but he is getting there. He can hold a stand. If you put him into position, he can stand and he can sort of get up, but then he hops along like a seal, dragging himself with his front legs. Anyway, today is going to be an HRT video because I have not spoken about HRT in quite a while. And one of you, sorry, let's just get this there. I'm not going to edit this video. So one of you had contacted me and asked whether I consult about HRT. And you had said, her name was also Louise, so she had said that I seem more knowledgeable than most of the doctors, which, thank you. I'm not a doctor, but I thought there's a lot of new subscribers, and some of you may not know my HRT journey, and some of you may also be wondering about HRT for yourself if you are in your 40s and 50s. So let me just share my journey. I did a lot of trial and error to get to the HRT regime that is working for me. The way I feel about my HRT now. So HRT, for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure most of you know, but it stands for hormone replacement therapy, which I spoke a lot about during my journey of finding the right hormone replacement therapy for me. I have all those videos. I will link to it in a playlist in the description box down below. But this is what I'm currently on. Those of you who've watched my channel for a while, you probably know this already. You've heard it, so you may want to skip this video, or you just may want to hear how I'm currently going. So I'm on Femigel, which is an estradiol gel. There you can see it says. Now, estradiol is the form of estrogen that we lose during perimenopause and menopause. We have three types of estrogen. This is the one you want to replace. So I've done a whole lot of videos on this. I also recommend you do watch Menopause Taylor's videos. She is a bit long-winded and a bit quirky. She has puppets and things, but she really does break it down simply. It does take time. I would recommend doing one video a week or one video a day or something. Try and understand, all of it. That's what I did. I basically watched all of her videos in order until I had gotten to this full understanding. I even consulted with her, and that will be in that playlist. I found the consult, to be honest, not as helpful as I would have liked. She kept trying to direct me and push me into taking birth control tablets for perimenopause. I understand why, but the birth control tablet didn't work for me. So instead of giving me a whole variety of options, I think she was stuck on this train of thought, thinking doctors don't prescribe HRT for women in perimenopause. All you're going to get is a birth control pill. And I understand that, but I found a gynae who I can work with. So I think instead of her saying, do you have a doctor you can work with? Could you find somebody? This is what you could ask for. This is what you could try. She just kept saying, you need birth control. You need birth control. And her reasoning was sound. Basically, in birth control tablets and in HRT tablets, you've got synthetic estradiol or synthetic estrogen and synthetic progesterone. So they're pretty much the same thing, but the HRT tablets are lower dosages. In birth control, your estrogen is a higher dose. So I hear her, I get her. She kept telling me to go on like a birth control tablet. And I wanted to start with the highest dose of estrogen possible to see, because also what she is saying is when you're younger, you need higher dosages of estrogen to feel good and not have symptoms. In my 40s, so I'm 46 as I make this video today, I'm turning 47 at the end of the year. In my early 40s was when I started to notice on and off, a few symptoms of perimenopause. My first night sweat, I'll never forget it because it took me by surprise. It was winter, because I remember I was wearing my winter pajamas and I had the thick winter duvet on, and I sweated through everything. And I got up, was it in the morning or the middle of the night? I can't remember, but my pajamas were so wet I could wring them out. It was like insane. And then it never happened again for a while, but I started to notice these things. I only very recently found the HRT regime that I'm happy with, but I remember there were a few things. Then I went to a doctor who was just an MD, a normal medical doctor, GP, but he has an interest, a special interest in hormones for women. So I went to him. We tested my thyroid as well. We tested my sex hormones. That's what it's called. So you test testosterone, estradiol, and progesterone. Those are your 3 sex hormones. We tested all of those. And what he found was that my thyroid was like on the low end of normal, but it like was just squeaking into the range. So he said, he gave me 2 months on like a natural thyroid supplement. And he said, if it doesn't improve, he suggests I go onto thyroid medication. Now, there are many reasons why my thyroid could have just been on the lower end. You know, I don't overeat. Well, especially back then, I was a bit stricter. I had done low carb. You know, some things can contribute to like a normal low thyroid, like your thyroid levels will be low because of these things. But anyway, he still suggested going onto a thyroid medication. So I did, very low dose, because the natural supplement didn't change my readings at all. So now I'm on a very low dose of thyroid medication. And whether my thyroid is just low functioning or I don't know, but we test regularly. I don't really feel any different, but I feel good on the thyroid medication. And I figure there's no harm in boosting my levels to where they should be in an ideal range, because like my mother's been for a thyroid test, my partner, people around me, and their thyroid levels are in range. So it is a worry that mine are on the low end. Anyway, now I'm getting into the thyroid stuff. But at the same time, we tested my sex hormones. He said my testosterone was very low. And I had blood tests from a few years previous where my testosterone was low anyway. I remember my vitamin D3 was a bit low and my progesterone was a bit low. So he said, I think it was 42, 43 at the time. You can see it all in the videos I've made. With the progesterone being low, he said that's the first hormone to go during perimenopause. So in perimenopause, your hormones are on a decline, but generally your progesterone drops off first, meaning in your monthly cycle, you won't get that progesterone rise and fall like you normally do. So he suggested I try a progesterone cream. I have since come to learn from the internet, from YouTube, that progesterone is not well absorbed through a cream. However, when I retested on the cream, my levels were higher. So I think it was getting absorbed. I don't know. But I've come to learn that the Estrogen tablets are like the way to go if you want to take bioidentical progesterone. Anyway, we tried that. I don't think I felt that much different. And I kept saying to him, but what about my estrogen? What about my estrogen? It was in range, but it was also a little bit on the lower side. Anyway, carry on, trial and error. And I wasn't really getting much from that doctor. So I did have that consult with Menopause Taylor. It was about two years ago, I think now. And so then I went on a mission of trying different birth control tablets. I tried, what are the names now? I'm trying to think. I tried all the ones with the higher dosage of estrogen, but none of them helped. None of them worked. And my main symptom was night sweats. I would also sometimes get like the daytime hot flashes where you start like overheating. And this was in winter, so that's how you know for sure. Like now it's summer, I'm getting hot moments anyway, but we are in the heat and the height of summer and humidity. So the birth control pill wasn't working for me. I don't know if it's just not well absorbed by my body. But I'd also learned from watching YouTube videos and all the research I've done that it is safer to take estrogen through the skin. So when you rub it into your skin, it doesn't have to go through your digestive tract and then hit your liver all at once. And then your liver has to package up the estrogen particles with proteins. And that is what increases your risk of blood clots. So it's a small risk, but who wants to take an extra risk? So having estrogen in a gel form is the safer way to go. In the meantime, I had found a gynae here who was giving a talk on menopause and perimenopause, and I was very relieved to find that here's this gynecologist local in my area who was specializing in this. I went to his talk and I was like, that's the guy. I want to consult with him. There was a long waiting period, but I booked it in and I went to see him, and he prescribed me the Femigel. Then I'd mentioned to him, because the GP who'd had an interest in hormones had put me on a bioidentical testosterone cream for women. It's this here. And because there is no pharmaceutical grade, meaning made in a pharmaceutical lab, there's no pharmaceutical grade testosterone for women available in South Africa today. He told me, this guy, and he said, just stick on this, keep getting this from that GP, and then we'll put you on the Femigel. So I am now on a pharmaceutical, bioidentical, because it mimics the hormones that are in my body. So no, it's not made by my body, but it mimics what my body makes. I'm on the bioidentical pharmaceutical estradiol gel. Apparently, and from everything I read, it is the safest method of delivery. And I'm on half a pump, even though the dose is a full pump. I'm on half a pump of testosterone to boost my testosterone levels. But ladies, don't just go and take testosterone unless you've tested your own levels, because in general, for females, our testosterone only drops off after we go through menopause. Generally, that's not a problem a perimenopausal woman would have. Usually it's your progesterone that drops off first. Then initially with that gynae, I was on this, and I was on those estrogen tablets, which are progesterone tablets, bioidentical. They were fine, they were great, but what I was finding was that I was getting breakthrough bleeding, like unpredictable bleeding at any time of the month. And I kept thinking, well, maybe the progesterone is not matching the estrogen, because what happens is the progesterone keeps your uterine lining thin. When your lining grows, thickens, and then sheds, that's when you have a period. The role of progesterone or progestin is to stop the overgrowth of that lining. So in your normal cycle, you have a rise in estrogen, your lining grows, and then in the second half, progesterone rises, and it halts the overgrowth of that lining. And then both hormones fall away, and then you shed everything. Now, on HRT, you are messing with the system, but you need progesterone. So I was on a daily progesterone capsule at night. However, like I said, I was getting breakthrough bleeding. So what we decided to try, me and this gynae, and I was quite keen to try this, was the Mirena, which I currently have at the moment. I have made videos on that as well. The insertion process was horrendous, horrible, but I knew that if I could get through that, and like the week or two after, I was bloated and swollen and sore. It looked like I was pregnant, like I had a little tennis ball, not a tennis ball, a basketball in my stomach. Bloated for a while. And like, yeah, it just didn't feel right. That all resolved. It all went away. It just took time. Some women react like that because, well, I haven't given vaginal birth. I had to have a Caesar. My son was breech. So my uterus, I think, my uterus is not used to having anything in there or expanding. So, when they insert something in there, your uterus freaks out. And, I get quite wobbly and nearly pass out with the pain. I had to just lie here in bed, basically useless for the rest of the day and the next day. But it has been worth it, because it has basically taken away my period. I do get light spotting very, very rarely. So since I put the Mirena in till now, I haven't had a proper period. I've had spotting, which has gone on for maybe a week or two at a time. It does come at odd times, nothing predictable, but it is so much better. It is so much better. There is some benefit to taking oral bioidentical progesterone, according to some of the channels I watch and some of the literature I read. The Mirena is a progestin, which means it is synthetic. It is not bioidentical, but the beauty of it is you put this little device inside your uterus. It sits there, and I don't know how it does it. I would love to know how it's this controlled release of progestin, but it releases it, and that travels and stays local to your uterus. So that progestin is only working on keeping your uterine lining thin, and that is its sole job and function. For women who don't have a uterus and go on HRT, they could, in theory, if their testosterone was fine, they in theory could only need to replace their estradiol. And so HRT can be a big and complex subject, but it really is simple if you understand it. And I hope I'm making it understandable. The main thing you're replacing is estrogen. Testosterone can drop off later. In my case as a female, I have lower testosterone. That's just me. You want to replace or keep your progesterone up or whatever, so that your uterine lining doesn't overgrow. The reason is because if you didn't keep your uterine lining in check and you were putting in estrogen, that could lead to an overgrowth of your uterine lining, and there is a potential risk for uterine cancer. So the Mirena is protecting me from cancer, and it's stopping me having a period, and it's convenient, and it's great, and I never have to worry about it. So for me, being on the estradiol gel, I have no more night sweats, no more perimenopausal symptoms, and you guys know there are many, many symptoms, and they are not fun, and they are not nice. I remember feeling a bit of like a black cloud of depression, feeling just in general kind of low, in general kind of just not a great feeling. Not to say that I don't ever get depressed, not to say that I don't ever get upset, not to say that I'm just all the time. It doesn't take away life. Life happens, but I feel inside my body that I can cope. I feel inside my body that I'm okay. And that's really what HRT does. You don't feel it. It's not like, oh my God, I feel different. I feel the hormones. It's more of a lack of feeling bad. Again, with the testosterone, I don't really know if I feel anything. I'm on a low dose, but because we have tested my levels, I just want my levels to be where they should be in all my hormones, so that I'm not lacking, I'm not missing out on anything, because all these hormones do play a role in building your bone, in building muscle, in keeping your brain healthy, and keeping all the tissues functioning and healthy. So that is my thinking why I want to and am on HRT, is because I liken it to being on thyroid medication, which is probably why I spoke about the thyroid medication. If you are low in your thyroid, so you've got sluggish thyroid, low thyroid, hypothyroidism, they put you on thyroid medication because you are running out of or no longer making that hormone. In my mind, the same can be said for estrogen. My body is running out of estrogen. It just will. It's a fact. I can't stop it. Menopause is coming. I am doing it now in perimenopause to bridge that gap, so that I'm not having all these years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, on lower and lower and lower and ever getting lower estrogen, only to crash and burn without my estrogen and then go on HRT, which is fine. It's your choice. Every woman is different. Every woman is unique. It's your body. You do you. It's a choice I made for me because I don't feel that there are any risks greater than being without hormones. In fact, I feel for myself that being in menopause and not replacing the hormones might be riskier. I don't know for sure. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. I'm not a researcher. I've done all the reading. A very good book is Estrogen Matters. Menopause Taylor's channel is good. There are so many, many channels here on YouTube that are really good. I have made a video where I've spoken about them, so please do go through my playlist. And for me, it makes sense to replace what's lacking. But, in the past, there were women who didn't. I don't know if Mother Nature has a plan. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. It feels right. It feels right for me. The way I feel is that I don't foresee myself stopping. The gynae that I'm working with has said, only you know if you feel good. So if you feel good, you could stay on this forever. And there is enough research supporting the fact that HRT is good for one's brain and for helping in the prevention of Alzheimer's. Again, I don't know for a fact. I'm not a researcher. Here's a very interesting point that maybe I should make a whole video on it, but I'll speak about it now. In the book Estrogen Matters and on Menopause Taylor's channel, they both mention that, what is it? Premarin, yeah. Premarin, which is the HRT that is made from pregnant mare's urine, those tablets, one of the equine estrogens in there actually helps regenerate or rebuild neurons in your brain. They both say that. Menopause Taylor says it, and it's this one little line in the book Estrogen Matters, and it's like a throwaway line, and I'm thinking, hold on, stop the clock, whoa, whoa, whoa. There is an estrogen kind that can regenerate neurons in our brain and has the best chance of preventing Alzheimer's. And it's one line in a book. Why are we not talking about this? I emailed the author of that book. I got no response because I wanted more. Like, where's the research? How do we know this? How do we know that this one equine estrogen in Premarin can regenerate neurons? Like, to me, that is wild. That is amazing. And Menopause Taylor also talks about this. So why are we not putting women on Premarin? I'm not too sure. And I asked Menopause Taylor, because she says, you know, the ladies that have been on Premarin, you see them in their 90s and they're sharp as a whit. And I'm like, well, shouldn't I be on Premarin? So she said, once I hit menopause, I can then look at doing that. It's something to investigate. This is something I really want to look at more, but I just want you ladies to know there is information that seems to suggest that we can protect our brains as well. But is the rest of the equine estrogens, are they useful for us? I don't know, because Premarin is a mix of all these horse estrogens. So that also leaves doubt and confusion in my mind. So right now I'm happy that I'm just on a bioidentical. This is what my body would make if it could. Now, no, it's not exactly what my body's making, but I feel good on it. I have no negative side effects. Does it make me any younger? No. Does it make my skin any less wrinklier? No. I am aging at the same rate. So don't let any of these channels fool you into rubbing estrogen into your face or rubbing vaginal cream into your face. That ain't going to work. This travels throughout your whole body. So no more vaginal dryness. It's good for my down there, for the tissues to keep them healthy and plump and moist. We all need some form of estrogen replacement for our what is the word? Genitourinary tract. Our genitals and our urine. Because a lot of ladies after menopause, everything shrinks and shrivels down there. And not all of them, but a lot of them suffer with urinary tract infections or problems peeing because it's harder to pee. So in my mother's case, and I'm sure she doesn't mind me sharing, she is on local vaginal estrogen. A lot of doctors prescribe it. It's very safe. It doesn't travel throughout your whole body. There's no other risks. And a lot of us just need that at least. So that's something to consider if you are in menopause and you're struggling with dryness, with the skin down there, with pee problems. At least consider a vaginal estrogen cream that could help. There are so many things available to us. We really do need to do all the research. If dryness is your problem, there's also beautiful, wonderful silicone lubricants for down there. Everything I've read and heard says that the silicone lubricants are the best for down there. But for me personally, this takes care of all of it. What I've also noticed, just N of one, just my own experience, my hair seems to be falling out a lot less. So, in the shower and in summer and all that, we shed a lot of hair. I seem to shed less. It's like my hair seems to be growing really well on the estrogen. So just my 5 cents, if you are suffering with thinning hair or hair loss in menopause or perimenopause, whatever, maybe this could help. So this is why it does help with all the symptoms, because it travels throughout your whole body. But the advantage is that it's not hitting your liver and increasing your risk of blood clots. So I feel happy on my HRT. And just to recap, my HRT for me is a testo gel. It is made in a compounding pharmacy. I'm on the Femigel and I'm on the Mirena for the progesterone component of my HRT. So it's something that's really working well for me. I think that this is something I will do for the foreseeable future. Things can change. My own hormones in the background might change. I may need to reevaluate, but it's working for me. So I just wanted to share that with you ladies. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. As I say, check out my playlist. If you're new here, my channel is for women over 40. We cover a wide variety of topics. I talk about a lot of things, not just HRT. Weight loss is a huge topic because I have competed. I have 2 diplomas in personal training. It's one of my things I know a lot about. But I also talk about life. I also talk about anything and everything, and mascara and shopping and anything a woman over 40 would want to know, I think. I'm trying to make videos that are always different, not always the same shit every video, because I get bored of channels like that. So I hope you guys will stick around, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.